Hello everyone and welcome back to another video on the challenge. I hope you all are having a great day, and today we'll be doing something I've never actually tried before. I've tried it, I've never gone for more than a few years, and it is a draft to glory challenge. I've seen this a lot from guys like Stick on the Ice. Basically what you do is you start with complete terrible players, all AHLers, 50 overalls and stuff like that, and try and turn the team into a contender by only building through draft picks. So this means you're not allowed to sign any free agents. You can't make any trades that involve players you haven't drafted. So you can only trade away players you've drafted or your draft picks, and you can only acquire draft picks. So you will only have players you drafted on your roster. It's a tough challenge. I've never done it before. After a few years of being like completely terrible, it kind of gets a bit discouraging, but you do have to wait it out for a few more years. I'm going to do it this year, and we are going to go to 10 full years of Draft to Glory to see if we can make it to a Stanley Cup. We're playing as the Quebec Nordiques, as you can see, the 33rd team. For the fantasy draft, I'm just going to select a bunch of players who are on expiring contracts and just let them walk. I'm going to be completely filled with the lowest overall players available in free agency. And yeah, we're going to see how this challenge turns out. Alright, so now we're at the entry draft. We hold the 4th overall pick. And what do we know about this draft? That's going to be an absolutely terrible pick. So we could trade it. We don't have any assets to trade up to number 1 to get this medium elite guy. This guy, low elite, I guess we could take him. 14, 3 years away. But yeah, this draft just sucks. The first year expansion draft is always terrible. So I guess I'll just make the pick. The pick actually has a lot of trade value, but I feel like that's kind of weird to trade away such a high pick just to get a garbage player. So I'm just going to take the low elite guy here. We're definitely not going to take the medium top 9, and then I think this guy has more upside than the medium top 6. So Vince Payer, first member of the Quebec Nordiques, reincarnated. 6'6" overall, low elite sniper. Better than nothing. Good start. Went through the rest of the draft picks. All of them are like 7th D, bottom 6 forward, all stuff like that. So I don't know. They'll probably make the NHL first year just because. Why not? But yeah, now I'm going to fill up the team with garbage players, and then we will simulate the next season, which will hopefully be a first overall pick in our future. Alright, so here are your Quebec Nordiques in their first year. As you can see, absolute all-star team here, a bunch of 53 overalls. Defense, if you're curious, for some reason this goalie has an X factor, so I assume he's like a creative guy who is maybe like a emergency backup for someone. I know I have David Ayres in the NHL or in the AHL along with Scott Foster, so that's pretty cool. But anyways, I don't think that X factor is going to change the sim too much. If we win a game, that'd be great, but if not, no problem. Not expecting a win, honestly. So let's get the season over with. We're not totally done the season yet, but I thought I would point out this incredible 21-1 loss against the Oilers, where McDavid picked up 8 points, 7 for Hyman, 6 for Draisaitl. Pretty crazy, but yeah, anyways. Alright, and we do it. We go 0-82. Our closest game was a 2-1 loss to the Red Wings. As you can see, this random guy led the team with 13 points. Random look at the awards here. If you're curious, just scroll through them pretty quickly. And ooh, we actually did have an award winner. One of our defensemen won the Bill Masterson. Yeah, he went through some stuff this year, so that's well deserved. Now coming up to the draft, and of course we moved down at the draft. It was meant to be, so we will be drafting 3rd overall, which really sucks because we missed out on 2 high elite players. Super unfortunate at this draft. We're going to get a good player. We're going to get a medium elite type of guy. There is another player at 15th overall, I believe, who I want to go for. But yeah, let's just look here. So first 2 pick is Hagens and Schaefer, which really sucks. I really wanted both of them. Past that, we're probably going to go with this guy Stallberg here, Mikko Koivu, NHL ready, medium elite sniper. This guy, defensive defenseman, I don't really think that he meets our needs. And then having guys like Misa, Fernell, all those guys are nice, but I think this generated guy will probably be the guy who sims the best. So we pick him up. He's an 80 overall out of the draft. No X factors, but Pretty solid all-around stats, including 4-star shooting. Probably keep him over in Sweden for another year or two, just to have him not get completely demolished. And I'm absolutely desperate to get this first-round pick here from the Flames. I would give up a lot for it, honestly. By the way, how is Payer doing? He had a good year. He's up to a 70 overall, but anyways, I really, really, really want this pick. Well, second or third get it done for the Flames. Second, third, fourth. Honestly, I'm so desperate. I wouldn't want to give up Payer right after we drafted him. Maybe we send them our second next year too, and like a fourth. Does that go through? And it does. So that's going to be huge for our team. We send to 12th overall. And we pick this medium elite defenseman here, Johansson. Right-hand D, NHL ready, Brent Burns. Sounds like a perfect player. I'm actually going to trade back one more pick. Apparently not. Philadelphia is not interested in trading. So we select this guy. That's our number 1 defenseman of the future. We're getting a steal here. Already a 79 overall. That's huge value. Pretty well-rounded stats. Again, he'll probably stay in Sweden for a bit. But yeah, that's our Swedish duo there. Stallberg and Johansson. So that's our Swedish duo for the future. Past that, there's not too much in this draft other than an absolute ton of goalies, like medium elites, high elites. So we'll get 1 or 2 of those. I did my own scouting this year, and although it did reveal a lot more than the regular scouting would do, I am so burnt out. Like, that year took almost like an hour to sim. So I'm just going to pick up this guy here and a goalie, and then, yeah, we'll get moving to the next season. 67th overall, we have our choice between this guy with the Russian name and Ivankovich, the World Juniors guy. He's only 2 years away. Both of them are 2 years away, actually. 18 stats were pretty similar. 8 shutouts. Let's go with this guy. He's a little bit higher ranks. 69 overall out of the draft is super solid. And then Ivankovich was a 71 out of the draft, so not a huge difference. Pick up that medium elite guy I mentioned. He's 19 years old, but 59 overall out of the draft. He should be a good piece for us. Grabbed another medium elite goalie here in the 6th round. And then in the 7th round, we pick up back-to-back low elite defensemen, both of them 50 overall, but good pieces for the future. So that's a very good draft, I think. I think the rest of the drafts in the future won't be quite as strong because I'm not going to be doing all of the scouting, but yeah, that's a really good start. All right, so here's how the lines are looking at the start of year 2. Looking good as always. I brought in one of our draft picks, our 2nd round pick from that first draft. He still sucks, but you know, it's good to have that 1 star on the team, the 64 overall. And they accidentally signed Ilya Samsonov, so I'm just gonna trade him for like a 7th round pick or something. It said like too few goalies, I guess, so maybe that's why. Yeah, that's my bad, I'm not gonna lie. But it's okay, it's not going to affect it too much. If we look at our unsigned players, because I didn't sign any of the big guys. If we look at unsigned, Pyre's up to a 72. This guy's up to a 61. And then 79, 80. So we'll see how all of these guys progress throughout the year, and then maybe even a few of them might be ready to join the team. I looked around the league, and Boston needs a goalie, so I'm just taking back this 66 overall for the contract spot, and then a 7th round pick. And we pick up our first point as a franchise, a 2-1 shootout loss versus the San Jose Sharks. Very impressive performance, and this team is already making huge strides. All right, and we ended the year 0-81-1. Big improvement on last year. We more than doubled our points. I don't know what I'm doing. We suck again, but we 11 points. I think he led our team in scoring last year. Was he the same guy who had 13? And he did. Wow, what a star. Minus 365 in 2 seasons. Pretty awesome stuff. I think we got to start getting better soon. And here's the awards if you're curious. Looks like Crosby got 1 last cup. And other than that, Hagen's first overall pick gets the Calder. Wish we had him. Schultz gets back-to-back Bill Masterton's been through some stuff in the past few years. I don't know how they determined who to give it to, but anyways, nice to see, I guess. And we move back to 3rd overall. I'm not surprised. I don't know how that always happens. absolutely ridiculous how that happens almost every single time. And I don't think I've ever moved up. Like from 8th overall or like anywhere, honestly. I don't think I've ever moved up. You either moved down to 3 or 2. Like, I've never seen it go any other way. So I haven't even looked at this draft class yet. Looks like McKenna will be going first overall. We should get a high elite forward. Ooh. I've had Stenberg before in a different franchise, and he seemed really well for me, but hopefully Preston does as well. Other than that, there's 2 medium elites here at 18 and 19. NHL ready, both of them. Oh man, it's going to be so hard to... I don't think we're going to be able to get them though. Super unfortunate. It looks like the rest of this draft is pretty dang terrible. Like, there's no medium elites other than the goalie. Of course, there probably is medium elites in there, but... Oh man, out of skating sucks, but... I mean, I went through this season in like 10 minutes, and the other one took like 50, so... Gotta make the sacrifice, I guess. Let's make our 3rd overall pick here. McKenna the Sabres, Stenberg to the Utah Hockey Club, and we get this guy, Matthew Preston, or Mathis Preston, I don't know how you pronounce it, from Spokane, 77 overall, high elite potential, another huge part of our future. 2 huge years in the WHL, and yeah, so he's got decent, well-rounded stats, nothing crazy. Past that, our next pick is at 67, and I don't think there's really anything in that range. So I'm going to see if I can try and trade up for one of those picks in that, what was it, 18 or 19 range. 20th overall is the only one on the block. Let me try and trade 3 picks to them. Man, I don't really want to give up picks for next year. I'd add another 3rd on top of that, though. A bunch of mid-round picks, and that actually goes through. So that's the 20th overall pick. Now we need to find a way to trade up to probably 17 to be safe. Is the 20th and the 5th round pick enough to get it done? I don't know how we're going to do this, because we really don't have too much to add. Maybe this guy is an NHL proven top pair defenseman. 3 assists on the season, 70 overall. Would we be willing to throw in a guy like Pyre? I don't think so. Maybe this defensive defenseman, he probably won't sim. What about if we add a 4th next year? Is that enough? That is enough. Oh man, that's huge news. So we sim to that pick, and we get our choice of which one. So do we go for the 2-way forward or the left defenseman? He's got A's across the board, basically 6'4", Brent Burns comparable. This guy looks like a stud though. A+ shooting. He is a 2-way forward. But I mean, he already has an X factor. It's got to be the forward. So 80 overall out of the draft, 17th overall. What a steal. Pretty well-rounded stats. Very good skater already. I might have to sign him and just have him cook on the top line. That Wilson guy was also an 80 overall. No X factor. And again, decent stats, but it would have been great to get both of them, but that's okay. That's a really good pick up at 17th overall there. That's huge. In the 4th round, I picked up another medium elite goalie. And then in the 6th round, I picked up this low elite guy here. So, pretty bad draft, honestly. I mean, not a bad draft. We picked up 2 more medium elites. But, yeah, the draft quality was definitely worse than last year with the auto scouting. Still good, though. So, for this re-sign phase now, I think we have to sign at least one of them. Stahlberg's up to an 84 overall now. So, he's not going to grow anymore playing in the SHL. We might as well sign him to his contract. What about McNeil here? Will probably leave 80 overall. He can probably cook for 1 more year. Johansson, he might grow. We got to sign Pyre now, so that's good. We can have him on the top line, develop a little bit more. Past that, I'm not really sure. We might as well sign Johansson, just to have 1 good defenseman there. And then I'm going to sign this medium elite goalie here, Kozlov, and just have him as like the backup or something, or maybe put him in the AHL, just so he can cook a little bit quicker. Alright, so here's how we're looking at the start of the next season, and hey, we actually have a few players now. Stahlberg's up to an 86 already, 4.5-star shot. He's looking really good, 5-star skating as well. So yeah, he'll be a very good player for us. Pyre will be taking the top line, our 4th overall pick from a few years ago. Other than that, the rest of the forwards suck, but it's okay. On defense, Johansson's up to an 80 after last year in the SHL where he was okay, so we'll be relying on him a lot. Other than that, Allison was our 70 guy there. In goal, we have this guy Kozlov, who's a 65 overall, 6th-round pick from a few years ago. And so, yeah, so we are actually playing with coaches this season. Like the other last few years, I've been playing with terrible coaches, like e-coaches. I actually hired some real guys this year, so we will be using them. We got our 2-time Bill Masterson Award winner there. But yeah, so let's get this season over with. We're still going to suck, but hopefully we can maybe get our first win. And we are starting the season hot here as we pick up a point in our first game and then a win against the Kings for our first ever win as a team. Let's go see who got the game winner in that one. First game winning goal in franchise history. Where is it? Here it is. Highs. I've never heard of this dude, but he gets the game winning goal. Our goalie made 44 saves en route to the win. Beautiful. What a crazy. Finally seeing a win after 3 years. It's 2026. Alright, so I would actually call that year a big success. We pick up 6 wins, 5 overtime losses for a total of 17 points. Still pretty bad, but I mean, that's a lot more wins than I was expecting. I was expecting like 1 or 2 maybe. Still last in the league. What I was most impressed by, 69 points from Stallberg, who's already up to an 88 overall and has all of the X factors. Pyre here had a really good year as well. He's up to a 79 already, so bringing him in the NHL was a great idea. He is up to a 4.5-star shot, put up 53. Johansson from the point as our #1 defenseman, played 26 minutes per night, up to an 82 overall for him too. The rest of the team didn't do too much, but that's to be expected. How did our goalie do? 876 for Kozlov, no worries. So that's huge, and we'll be even better too as well. Next year we'll have a few more players in there. And we finally stay at the first overall pick. And I know what that means. So we win the draft lottery finally, and it's 2027, so that means I think that we're about to get Landon DuPont. Here at the entry draft, first overall pick. And there he is, Landon DuPont. We actually have another medium franchise player here, though, Quentin Clark. I think this is a generated player. I don't think he's real. I mean, there can't really go wrong. I think you have to go DuPont, though. That right defenseman. He actually hasn't simmed crazy well in my experience, but there's no way you don't go him. Yeah, I'm not going to overthink it. Landon DuPont, 83 overall out of the draft. Oh man, that is such a huge add to the team. 5-star puck skills already. Oh my gosh. That's amazing. Sucks that we lose out. Actually, the pick's on the block. Would that be crazy to go for 2? I'm going to try and trade for this pick really quick. Little package here. A 3rd-round pick next year. Our 2nd round this year. And then Adamski, who is 67 overall. He was the medium elite we drafted. He hasn't really shown too much progression. Does this go through? I know this isn't a crazy realistic deal in real life, but I mean, we're in such a disadvantage here that I'll take anything. Add in a 4th, maybe a goalie prospect as well. What about this guy here, Wang? It's quite close to fair value. Oh my gosh, we could actually do this. This would be crazy. What if we up that to a 2nd next year? Oh my gosh, 2 medium franchise players. We pick 1 and 2, and we get another huge player, Quentin Clark. 83 overall as well for him. Medium franchise sniper. Holy, what a draft. So we have pretty much nothing left now. With the 3rd-round pick, I picked up another medium elite goalie here. And then in the 5th round, I picked up 2 low elites here. So a very successful draft, I would say. 2 medium franchise players, 1st and 2nd overall, a medium elite goalie, and 2 low elites. That's quality over quantity at its finest. So absolutely amazing. Now in the re-sign phase here, I'm going to sign a few of our prospects that were waiting to make the NHL. Stallberg, McNeil here, already up to an 83. He'll be signed for sure. We'll probably sign our 2 medium franchise guys here as well, DuPont and Clark. And past that, I don't know, do we sign Preston here? Probably. He hasn't shown any growth yet. He's still at a 77 overall, but I'm sure he'll grow over the offseason, so we'll sign him on as well. By the way, here's a quick look at the awards from the last season. The Ducks winning the Cup, which is surprising. I don't think we would have picked up any awards, though. Janssen picks up the Bill Masterton this year, so yeah, I guess we can just win that trophy every year, I guess. But all right, so here are the lines heading into year, what is it, 4? And for the first time, I think I'm genuinely excited about this team. Our top 6, well, our top 5 looks really good. Past that, bottom 6 sucks as per usual, but we got Preston on the team now. We got Clark. We got Pyre, we got McNeil at an 84 overall. All these guys are going to have huge seasons. On defense, we got an elite top pair, Johansson and Dupont. Past that, again, it sucks, but that's fine. And then we actually have this guy, Andrianov, in net, and he's already at a 76 overall at 20 years old, so hopefully he's the goalie of the future for us. Past that, not too much. But yeah, I'm genuinely excited for this year. I don't think we'll be good by any means, but I think we can hopefully pick up north of 10 wins and hopefully have, I don't know, a few decent point scores. We'll see what happens. All right, so the season is over, and that is way better record than I thought we were going to have. We finished 25, 48, and 9. Still last in the division, I assume last in the league, but at least we're kind of near. 2.07 goals for. Yeah, we're definitely making big strides. For the points, Stallberg put up way less than last year, which is a little bit concerning, but it's fine. No worries. Preston had a good rookie year. McNeil, all these guys had good rookie years, and hopefully they can move up in overall a little bit. DuPont's already up to a 91 overall. Holy. So, yeah, I'm very excited for the future of this team. Here are the awards. If you're curious, the Devils ended up winning the Cup, and I assume we won the Bill Masterton Trophy again. And we didn't this year, so proves to you we're actually getting better. So good stuff. Now let's go to the draft, and hopefully this is our last year of drafting in the top 3. And we take the first overall pick again, so I don't know. Maybe he is treating us right after all these years of moving back to 3. So yeah, so that's good. I don't think it will be a generated player first overall, so we'll see who that is. Islanders have the second overall pick on the block again. Kind of weird. Maddox Schultz. Is he medium elite? I think he might be medium elite. Because that is a real player. He's a real guy. Outside of that, these guys might be real players. This might be... Yeah, I think we actually can get real players in this year, but I guess we just go with Maddox Schultz. It would be nice to get another defenseman, but... Or a left-handed defenseman, but not really any of them. So he's high elite. That's another great player to add to the system. It's good that he's a playmaker too, because we have a lot of snipers in the system right now. He has a terrible shot, a 1-star shot, 5-star puck skills. Pretty whack stats there. But yeah, let's see what the rest of the draft is looking like. We're kind of low on draft picks since we've been spending them all in the last few years to move up. Alright, so I'm going to try and make a trade with the Canucks here, giving up a second, a third, and Kozlov here. Kozlov, he's 22 now, still only a 6'9", so I don't think he's going to progress much. To the 10th overall pick, and then we are trading for Forsberg here, but it's okay, we're not going to sign him. It's quite close to fair value, so if we just add another player here, let's take this 7D, and that should go through, and it does. So at 10th overall, we are going to select that left-handed defenseman I was talking about. So I don't actually know if he is medium elite, but it says NHL ready, Chara, so I'm hoping he is, and he is 78 overall. So I think that's really the final piece of our rebuild. We're pretty much almost there, so now we just need those depth players to start coming up through the system, which will hopefully happen in the next few years slowly, and then we can get really into contention. In the third round, we pick up the 70 overall low top 4 defenseman, so I think I'll have him play on the team next year, see what happens. In the 6th round, I pick up a low elite center, as well as a low elite defenseman. and then a low top 4 defenseman in the 7th round. So again, a really good draft. We picked up another high elite player and a medium elite left-handed defenseman, which is huge. I think I'm going to sign all these players, and then hopefully this year we can actually start moving into that contention status. I know you can't really do it without a bottom 6, which is something we don't really have right now, but I think we're going to be at least a decent team. I'm going to leave Schultzen Jr. for one more year, but I think I'm going to have Flood come in and play top pair D for us. And we have to re-sign our first drafted player. Kind of cool. It's the 7th D guy. He grew to a 71 overall, so he's actually doing pretty well. I'll probably just qualify him and give him a basic contract, though. Also sign this 70 overall guy here. He can play like second pair for us or something. And we have to start actually signing extensions next year, so we won't have to like sign players to these ridiculous like $19 million contracts just to play in the AHL. Here we are at the start of year 5, and the lines are looking excellent. Look at that top 6. We got a decent top 6 now. I'm not going to lie. McNeil's still in 84. I'd like to see a little bit more growth from these guys, but hopefully that will come as the team gets a little bit better. We had a low elite here. Where was he? Schultz here. So he'll be playing in the top 6 as well. Hopefully get a little bit of growth there. And then on the defense, we got Flood, DuPont, and then Johansson. So we've got 3 really solid defensemen here. Overall, our defense is probably our best there. 370 overalls isn't crazy. And goal 80 overall for Andrianov, which is very good. And yeah, so this team is honestly looking pretty solid. Again, I don't think we're going to even sniff the playoffs, but hopefully we can see some growth from the players, and we won't have players taking like those minus 40s, because that, I think, is what really killing our team. You can also start signing players to extensions finally. So Stahlberg here, he's the big one. He's our first line center, and he wants like $14 million, so let's try and get him up. He has really good organizational interest. Sign him to an 8-year deal. We got to negotiate that, dude. So negotiate. Try and get that down to like 11 million for sure, but he really is not wanting a deal like this right now, so we might have to wait. We'll offer him a no trade clause, I guess. Let's go for all of them. Yeah, we'll probably just wait on him. Yeah, if he's going to be wanting like 14 million long term, I don't think it's worth it. Good player, but I don't think it's worth it for him. Johansson here, on the other hand, he should be fairly reasonable to sign, so he's very happy with the organization. Let's try and get that contract in 8 years. We should be able to get a pretty reasonable deal here on Johansson. 8 years at 8.275 is pretty dang cheap for a defenseman in the later years, so I'll definitely take that if he does accept. Pyre is super low on the organization, but he is our first ever draft pick, so I would like to get him signed. He wants a fairly cheap amount of money, so yeah, we better just leave it though. He probably won't accept anything, but we should be able to get him for fairly cheap. It's just tough to tell when he hasn't really grown in a few years. And Johansson does say yes to that deal, so that's the first domino to fall. And now we just sim through the season. If we can hit like 25 to 30 wins, I'd be pretty happy with that. Yeah, let's see what happens. Alright, so there's another season over with, and we take another step. 29 wins. I was hoping we would finish with a little bit more than that, but all things considered, not a terrible year. Are we last in the entire league? And we are not. So that's our first year not at the bottom of the league. Very impressive. Clark leads the way with scoring a 66. He's up to a 93 overall. Stahlberg there had a good year too. All of these guys getting up there in overall as well, 93. Yeah, really good year overall. This Mar guy is actually doing really well too, 74 overall from the 7th round. Yeah, nothing too crazy in the scoring, but it's pretty hard to break that like 60-point barrier when you're playing with 60 overalls. A 908 for Andrianov, so that's very promising. A 908 on an absolutely terrible team. So yeah, that was very promising. Honestly, I'm very happy with that season. Hopefully next year we can take that next step. Here are the awards if you're curious. All Canadian Stanley Cup Final. James Norris to Theodore. I don't think I've ever seen that. And again, we don't get the Bill Masterson. Good sign. So yeah, so that's that. Now we got the draft, and we will be picking in that top range again. Realistically, we could trade this pick. We are staying at 2nd overall, but like, what are we going to trade it for? I don't know if I mentioned this at the start of the video, but we can only trade for other draft picks. So, I mean, if there's like some NHL ready players in the 2nd round, I'd consider it, but probably not. We should end up with another medium elite player though, and all of these guys are generated, which I find that generated players sim better anyways. So yeah, so let's go through this draft. First overall, the Rangers get that 83 overall guy. We're going to pick, probably, we don't really have a power forward in the top 6, do we? This guy was in consideration for 1st overall though. All of them would be good choices. This guy's a gem, so let's go with this guy, the power forward. Why not? 83 overall out of the draft. Very nice. Some good X factors there, so he'll join the top 6 right away. That guy was also an 83, and so was that guy, so you really couldn't go wrong, I guess. Flyers just went wrong. Medium top 6, and medium elite goes the next. Anyways, I do want to trade this pick for Vancouver because there is a player, an NHL ready player around this range that I want to get my hands on. And he went, no, the Blues picked him up with the pick before. I knew I was kind of risking it. He was an 82 overall out of the draft. So that sucks to miss out on. Is there any other NHL ready players around here? Doesn't look like there's anything too special, so I guess we'll just go with this guy here, and he's a low elite, so better than nothing, I guess. And the rest of this draft is pretty bad, so I just wait until the 7th round, and then we pick up this low elite guy here. So not our best draft, but we do pick up that 83 overall forward. We just need more NHL guys, really. This bottom 6 was killing us, and will probably kill us for a few years too. But hopefully we can get into that like 40 win range and hopefully start making the playoffs. Even if we can't really go far in the playoffs because our bottom 6 is so bad, hopefully we can kind of get into that range. It's a stressful re-sign phase though, because we have to re-sign Stallberg, one of our longest tenured players, and I think we just have to go with the 2-year deal. He will not accept anything for that long-term deal, so... And it's not like we're short on cap space. We can push his big contract for a few more years. So let's just sign him for $9 million. 2 years, a little bit over $9 million. The other guy we need to sign, Goulias, we'll probably just throw him right in the NHL. He's an 83 overall. He can handle it. He's 17 years old too, which is nice. And then Pyre here, one of our original players. He wants a really cheap deal. I'd like to get him long term though, so we'll see if we can negotiate. His organizational bar was really low before, and now it's really high, so that's nice. Let's try and improve the offer. We're getting a steal here. I don't care if it's kind of cheesy. We got to get it done. So we're going to try this deal on him. 8 years, $4.375 million. Super cheap for that middle 6 guy. He will probably end up being at the NHL level. 4th overall pick a few years ago. He's turned out to be a solid player for us. We also have Schultz joining the team this year. How did he do in the WHL last year? He put up 101 points. So yeah, that's pretty good. I think we're ready. Let's do it. Let's go into this season, no fear. We gotta sign Andrianov too, but we actually have a solid starter goalie. We have lots of elite forwards. We have a decent defensive core. And yeah, I'm ready. And Pyre does say yes to that deal. So does Stallberg. So we get those 2 big pieces locked up for a little bit. Contracts will probably start to be a big problem fairly soon. But for the next few years here, we still have some flexibility. Alright, and I think I want to start handing out extensions. We have lots of big players. You can see Clark, DuPont, Preston, McNeil, and then our goalie of the future, Andrianov. So I'm going to try and get all of those done. I don't think he's going to say yes to this, but I'm going to try and get Clark to an 8-year deal with 12.575. I don't think he's going to say yes, but hopefully... Oh, he does right away. So his bar wasn't actually at the top, so that's interesting. Maybe I can take advantage of that. But we do get our highest overall player locked up long term. Landon Dupont at a 93 overall. We can get even cheaper. Hopefully at a 9.825. And he says yes to that. Wow. Those are two great deals, I'm not going to lie. Also going to try and get Preston to this deal here. 8 years, 10.725. And he says yes to that too. So those are some really cheap deals. I'm liking this new strategy I'm using. I'll show you here. So what I do is, all of these guys have high organizational interest, so it's not really a big deal. We go 8 years, and whatever he wants, like, that's pretty cheap. But already we're going to improve the offer. We're going to get that clause in there. I like to do the no move plus the partial no trade, just because if we do need a way out, we can trade him to 25 teams. You see his bar is up there, so we're going to try and get him down 500k, even though, like, he says no. If we try final offer, he's like, okay, this is actually looking okay. So we send that, and the last few times it's worked if I sent it right overall. And yeah, so 6 million, 8 years. We are absolutely cooking up with the extensions here. And then the last one, big one, is our goalie here, who has a lower organizational interest, so it might be a little bit tougher. He's not loving the organization. 8 years, 8.3 is his expectation, which wouldn't be horrible. If we can get him to a cheap enough deal, this could be a decent deal. What does he say if he says no? Yeah, see, he didn't have the high organizational bar, so even though he said that, like, thanks for the offer, but I don't really want to, even if we said that's our final offer, he's still going to say no. So no problem with that. We got lots of time. But yeah, I'm really glad to get all of those big pieces signed and on the team. I also signed some coaches, and we are going into this year with an absolute all-star coaching cast. We got Rod Brindamore, all A-pluses as the head coach, John Hines as an associate. We got this random guy as the assistant. And if you're a goalie and your goalie coach is Patrick Waugh, man, we are going to be an amazing team this year, hopefully. It's still just those few 70 overalls that are kind of plaguing our team, but hopefully in the next few years, those should start to fill themselves up. And in the meantime, hopefully we can get to that, like, fringe playoff team level. All right, so here is how the lines are looking at the start of year. What are we, 6 now? I don't know, but it's looking pretty good. I think what I'm actually going to do is that really quick. But yeah, Clark is looking great. We have a really good top line. Hopefully they can put up a lot of points. We got guys like McNeil, Schultz, Pyre looking good. This guy Gulas, our second overall pick, he's going to be playing on the third line for now. Just gives us that extra layer of depth in the bottom 6. Still not much. We still have like 68 overalls, but we're chilling. Also, this lowly grinder we drafted a few years ago, he's going to get a chance in the NHL. On the defensive side, we got Dupont. I'm going to want to see a lot of points from Dupont this year. We got Johansson, who's still up there playing top 4D. Flood, hopefully we see a lot of growth from him this yeyear. And then in net, we got a good goalie in Andrianov here. And I'm going to trade Lennox because for some reason they signed him. We really have a signed goalie in the AHL, so I don't know what that's all about. But yeah, we're going to trade him away. And hopefully this year we can, as I said, push into that wild card contention range. In the trade, we're just going to take back this guy here. He is a French starter, which is a guy we didn't draft, so I kind of feel bad, but we need it for the contract spot, so we'll take it. A little bit of bending the rules, but I mean, it's nothing we could have done there, and really, is it really going to change that much, the fringe starter goalie? Hopefully not. So yeah, let's sim this season. Also, really quick, before the season starts, I'm going to send out this prospect we drafted in the 7th round a few years ago. He's a 68 overall. I don't think he's going to grow anymore at 22 years old, so we get a 4th round pick back for a 7th round draft pick, so I'll take it. I don't believe that we finished 1 point outside of a playoff spot this year. We actually went on an incredible run there. At the first half of the season, we were sitting just below 500. I'll show you the last few months. We went on some crazy winning streaks, but yeah, we finished with a 42, 33, and 7 record. That is rock solid. 1 point outside the playoffs, and yeah, if you look at 19th in the league, so pretty good, very solid, I'd say. 3.09 goals per game, 3 against, so more goals per game than against. power play of 17, and a penalty kill of 84. So, again, like, not a good team, but that was pretty solid. Quentin Clark led the team in scoring. That's his first big year. 86 points for the 93 overall. Stallberg had another big year. I'm surprised he hasn't gotten better because he had that 1 year of 69 points in his rookie year. But anyways, we see some positives, which is nice. The positives and the plus minus, that's the big thing. McNeil here, Pyre had a big year on the second line. He started the year on like the third line, I think. In like the auto lines, he was on like the fourth line or something. So good to see that he's actually turned into a very solid player. I was hoping he would, but I was thinking he kind of would bust since he was a low elite at 4th overall, but 5-star shot, he's a good player. Preston Schultz DuPont puts up 59 as our number 1 defenseman. Goulias, 84 overall for the 2nd overall pick. 32 points from Johansson. Where's Mar here? He had a decent year. And then down the list, Flood here. Still at an 83 overall, so I'll take that, honestly, all around. On goal, Andrianov did pretty good. 84 overall still. He put up a 906. He's actually been a very solid goalie in the NHL. A 906 is a very good save percentage considering some of the teams he played on. So, yeah, I'll definitely take it. Also, the 68 overall had a 912 save percentage. But anyways, yeah, that is a big year. I am not going to lie to you. I'm very happy with that. 1 point out of the playoffs. Let me show you these months here. We were sitting around the 500 mark at about this point, and then we had 1, 2, 3, 4 wins in a row, 5, 6, 7, 8 wins in the month of February, and then in March we went off as well. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9 wins in the month of March. So I wish we got a win against the Sharks their last game of the season, but it's fine. Big improvement, but that means we're definitely expecting to make the playoffs next year. Here are the awards from the season. If you're curious, Oilers go back-to-back for the Stanley Cup. Avalanche, absolute sweep of everywhere. Schultz actually wins the Calder Trophy. I wasn't really expecting that. He didn't have too crazy of a year, but yeah, that's good for him. That's their first award other than the Bill Masterson, which is nice to see. Past that, doesn't look like nothing too special. So we hold the 15th overall pick here. I'm going to trade up a few spots, I think, because there is a player I want. Here's the draft if you're curious. Looks like it was much weaker than last year, so we didn't miss out on too much. The guy who just went was a medium elite, but that's fine, no worries. So with this 15th overall pick, there really isn't too much here. I feel like we're in need of defense more than offense. So I'll probably go for one of these defensemen here. Looks like McGinn is probably the best pick, so we'll go for him. He is a medium top 4, 65 overall, so he can join the team in a few years. With our 4th round pick, we picked up a medium top 6 forward, picked up a low elite defenseman in the 6th round, as well as another low elite. I'm going to see if Andrianov says yes to this. It's 8 years, 7.675. That's exactly what he's asking. I doubt he'll say yes, but I'm hoping. And he does say no to that, so we'll probably just leave him until August or something because I do want to get a long-term deal done with him, but if he's not willing to do it right now, I'm looking to get an absolute steal of a contract extension here with Flood. 8 years, $5.9 million. That would be an absolute steal if he does say yes to that. Andrianov's ask has also gone way down, so we're going to try and sign him to this 8-year deal, $6.675 million. He does say yes to that. Flood also says yes to that, so that is 2 big pieces locked down long term. But we have Stallberg to sign next year, and he was the one we signed to like a bridge deal, and he's going to be looking for huge money here, so I don't know how we're going to manage it. He is one of our oldest players. He was, I believe, our 2nd ever high draft pick, 3rd overall in like 2025, so it's unfortunate that we might have to let him go, but alright, here's how the lines are looking at the start of, what are we, year 7 now, I want to say. First line looking good as always. We'll have Stallberg playing on the 2nd line because I think he is going to be a trade candidate after this year unless his offer comes down. So we're going to try and get that offer down a little bit. Pyre still up here. It kind of sucks not to be able to get Goulias in the top 6. I might have to take down McNeil. McNeil hasn't really grown in a few years. Like, he came in out of the draft as, what, like an 83 overall, and now he's just an 86 at 22. He's got well-rounded stats, but nothing special. So now that I think about it, he's actually going to play 3rd-line center, and we'll have Goulias playing in the top 6. He was the 2nd overall pick, and he has I feel like a much higher offensive upside, so we'll have him playing in the top 6. We also have Colborne joining the team. He was our second round pick, a low elite, and he's already up to a 78. We have a few other lowlies like Dahl and Schultz down here who are going to be playing minutes. We've got our defense. DuPont should be like an elite player this year, hopefully. We got Johansson, Flood. Hopefully we can see some growth out of him too. This team, like, I hate the bottom pair defense is so bad. And our like fourth line, bottom 6 is not going to be very good. But those will come in the next few years. Hopefully our offensive talent can lead us to a playoff spot for the first time. Andrianov will also be a big part of that. He's an 85 overall, so we'll need him to continue to be excellent if we want a chance. But I mean, just look at our power play here. Like, our first unit is absolutely elite, 2 franchise players. Even our second unit is very strong. So I think we're going to hopefully make the playoffs this year. And I realized I should probably give out the captains and assistants now. I have to give Pyre an assistant. He was our first ever draft pick, and he's going to be here a long time, so I'll give one to him. I also have to give one to DuPont, I think, because he was our first overall pick. He's signed on long-term, an elite defenseman. And I think our captain will have to be our leading scorer, Quentin Clark. He's our guy. He's a franchise player, also locked up long-term for fairly cheap, so I think it has to be those 3 players for the captains. Yeah, let's see how this year goes. And in year 7, is it year 7? I keep forgetting, but the Quebec Nordiques have finally made the playoffs, cruising into their first ever appearance with a 53-25-4 record. I've had much better teams with worse records, so I'm very impressed. 3.49 goals against. Let me just compare this to the rest of the league. We finished with a President's Trophy, with a 68 overall on our roster and a low 70s third pair. Pretty crazy how well this team is simmed. 3.49 goals per game in the upper echelon of the NHL. 2.78 against is the lowest in the NHL. Our defense is horrible, man. That is crazy. 20.5% power play is very solid. 88.9 penalty kills. Great. Wow, this team's just a wagon. I don't know. Maybe I should build teams like this all the time. Just put 70 overalls in the bottom of your roster. Quentin Clark, the new captain, and he shows up. 44 goals, 89 points. Schultz had a good year. Stahlberg, I reduced his ice time to 18 minutes per night. Turned out to be the best thing possible for his career. 4 less minutes than last year, but he puts up more points. So I don't know. That's going to be a tough contract to sign, but we got to sign it. Goulias, who I actually moved up to the first line halfway through the year because he was doing so well, he finishes his sophomore year with 72 points. A great year for him from the second overall pick. Preston played well. Pyre, oh my gosh. 70 points from Vince Pyre, the 5-star shooter, 4th overall pick. He's still stuck in an 85 overall, but he is ripping it up right now, 35 and 35. 63 points from our first pair defenseman, Lenny DuPont. Very solid. Can't wait to see how he continues to grow. McNeil playing on the third line role. Did okay. Pretty much as expected. Finished with a +6, so it's no worries. 40 points from Johansson is pretty solid. Very good from the 88 overall, who we've got locked up long term. And then the bottom 6 here. Mar had a decent year as a 78. Flood is up to an 86 now, so that's solid. It's good to see him continue to grow. Rest of the lineup there, if you're curious. In nets, Andrianov stayed at an 85, but did have a 42-21-4 record, a 9-12. Our backup is only a 68 overall, and I realize we don't actually have any other goalies in the system, so I need to draft some goalies quick to replace that 68 overall. But yeah, pretty solid year from Andrianov. I hope that contract extension will age well. And we are finally into the playoffs, man. It's been a while since I've been in the playoffs. So year 7 are we in? And yeah, so we're playing the Toronto Maple Leafs in the first round. We split games 1 and 2. Split games 3 and 4 as well. A very tight matchup here. Game 5 goes to the Leafs, so we'll be hopping in for Game 6 here. First period, 1-0 Goulias. Mar gets done in the second period. Johansson gets that third one to send this one to Game 7 at home. So can we do it against the Leafs? Biggest game of all these core players' careers. First period and 1-0 Preston gets done. Second period, Clark third period here, Game 7 against the Leafs. Can we hold them off for 20 more minutes? Nice long power play. Matthews gets one back. He's a menace. He's been simming amazing in this sim. Splitting power plays. Can't give them one. Still up by one. Nice ties it up with 7 minutes left. Next goal probably wins. It's the Leafs. They're gotta choke, right? We'll be going into overtime. Game 7 overtime in the first round, and Nylander gets it done. Oh, we sell the 2-0 lead. I guess we're the new Leafs, and we lose in the first round of the playoffs. Super disappointing. It just shows you depth is so much more important in the playoffs, and we do not have that depth. So, very unfortunate. I'm disappointed with that. I thought we would get a little bit further, considering we won the President's Trophy, but, I mean, it's our first year in the playoffs. These guys are not experienced. Overall, I call that season definitely a success. However, next year we definitely got to start contending in the playoffs. And the Leafs ended up winning the Stanley Cup, so it's no big deal. Here are the awards if you're curious. Yeah, there's our first of many President's Trophies, hopefully. Flames and Leafs in the final. Pasternak has simmed crazy. He's won 4. I think he won a few years before that. Now with the Blue Jackets, he wins the Hart as well. Nylander. Andrianov actually gets the Vezina. Very interesting. So hopefully that'll be good for his growth. Contracts already aging pretty well. And yeah, no other awards. So at the draft, and we're definitely looking for NHL ready talents. There's a French and a Croatian in the top of the draft here, but other than that, not too much to look out for. This guy Pelly would probably be medium elite. So I might try and trade up to that 9th overall pick or something like that, but there's actually a gem medium elite defenseman here at 20th overall. So, I mean, it would be pretty smart to trade for that pick as well. It's probably going to be one or the other. Trying to trade for the 17th overall pick here. We're going to throw in this low elite defenseman here, as well as a second and a third. Does our first, a third, and that prospect get it done? And it does, so we move up to 17th overall. And the defenseman I was looking at 10th overall was this guy here, and he didn't even end up being a medium elite. So, although it would have been nice to have that offensive defenseman, no big deal. So, with this pick, we're going to go for the gem medium elite. He's not going to be on the team next year, but hopefully he can be a contributor in the lineup sooner rather than later. Also, I just noticed Schultz is up to medium franchise potential. Holy, that is incredible. I also picked up the first pick of the second round, and we snagged the 73 overall, so hopefully he can be a contributor in the lineup, maybe even next year. Picked up another medium elite to add to the system in the third round here. Picked up a medium top 6 in the fourth round, and then a medium elite goalie here in the fifth. Alright, so we need to sign Stallberg now, and he is honestly open to an 8-year deal, and it's not like we're tight on cap, but I feel like I don't know if it's going to work out. We might be trading him for a package of draft picks. It sucks because you can't get players in return. So if you're trading a player, you're really not getting anything back. So I got his interest up a little bit. I'm going to approve the offer here with a clause to maybe get the cap hit down. I mean, he did prove to us last year that he was a very good player and a top line guy. So 11.475, that's not crazy in these years, so I'm okay with that deal. And he does say yes to that, so that's pretty good. I'm very happy with that. So now if we look at all of our big players, we have Schultz to re-sign next year, which would be a big one. And then Goulias, that's 2 big ones as well. But past that, we've got everyone locked up to pretty good deals, and all of these players should be fairly cheap. Like all of those like low elites, low top 4s, all of them should be either like league minimum deals, or we can get them signed on long term for, 4 or 5 million. Goalie situation is the big one, obviously. We have a good goalie for cheap for a long time, but we don't have a backup, really. But there's nothing we can really do to address that now. I should have addressed that a few years ago, but honestly, our organization's in a pretty good spot right now, and it will only continue to get better as we get that depth. We've already proven we're the best team in the league, even with like 70 overalls in our lineup. So we just need to keep on keeping on and wait for those reinforcements to come. And hopefully we can win the Stanley Cup in the next few years. Looking at Schultz here, and he's going to want an absolute ton of money. So we'll probably wait a little bit on him. I don't want to do a bridge deal with him because that kind of cost us with Stallberg. Goulias should be pretty cheap long-term, hopefully. I'm going to try and get Goulias signed long-term to an 8 years, 7.825. Very cheap for a guy who just had like 77 points at like 19 years old. So this guy has an extremely bright future, so it'll be good to get him signed on. And he says that, yes, that deal. So I don't know. Does that maybe get someone, one of our key players, maybe could be traded? Maybe for a defenseman? I'm not sure. Maybe if there's like a medium elite defenseman in the top 5 next year, we might have to make a deal. Alright, so here is how the lines are looking. We got Schultz, Clark, Preston on the top line, gonna be elite. I might do this to even up the chemistry a little bit. I'll see. I'll change it halfway through the year if it's not working out, but that's a really good top 6. If I still have Pyre here, he hasn't really grown. But with that 5-star shot, he's proven he can be a very productive player. So I'm going to have him there over O'Neill, and then McNeil can hopefully, you know, thrive in that third line role because he's making that amount of money. It's not unreasonable. For the third line here, we also have 2 low elites, both of them 20 overall, or 20 years old. Fritz was a 7th round pick, and at 20 years old, he's already got a 5-star shot, so he's has a bright future. Colborne played last year. He's also only 20 and already an 81, so good for them. And all of, I think this guy, yeah, everyone on this team in the forward core was drafted by us. So we've really proven we can fill out a team that can be competitive. On the defense, we're still looking a little bit weak. I'd like for Flood to grow a little bit faster. I'm not going to lie. Hopefully this is the year, though. We don't need him to be a big offensive producer. That's DuPont's job, and hopefully we can see him like get into that point per game territory this year. Johansson's up to a 90 overall. He's been great. Mar, we need the bottom defense here to round out a little bit, but we only have 163. Still pretty good. And then Andrianov, even though he just won a Vezina trophy for some reason, he just wants to stay in an 85 overall. I don't know, no problem with me. He's signed on for cheap. And then Shubarov as the backup here. Hopefully we can get those reinforcements from the system in soon. If you look at unsigned players here, McGinn, who was our 15th overall pick, we could sign him and throw him on the bottom pair. I don't know if that would like stop his development or anything. It'd probably be faster actually. So you know what? I'm going to sign McGinn and have him play on the bottom pair. And with that change done, let's see how this team sims. And there is the season over with a safe playoff season, 46, 29, and 7 record. 3rd in the Atlantic. Not quite the dominance we had last year, but a safe playoff team. For sure, we finish probably 11th in the NHL. I'll definitely take that. 3.35 goals for was up there. And 3.16 against. Not ideal. Middle of the pack. So defense is definitely something to be improved, but we're working on it. Very good power play at 23%, and then penalty kill was pretty bad. So yeah, defense is definitely our problem, but no worries. Quentin Clark proving yet again that he is the heartbeat of this team. At $12 million contract, looking pretty dang good right now. 52 goals for the best player in Nordiques history, probably. Goulias had another great season, just 20 years old. This guy's a star, man. Stallberg, that's pretty solid from him, honestly. He's just a good second-line center. We know that now. Preston, he did pretty good. I moved him to the second line halfway through the year just to get Schultz, the playmaker, back on that top line because he was up to a 92 overall. DuPont, good season from our number 1 defenseman. Pyre put up another good season. 85 overall. He's 25 now, so maybe he does settle into that kind of third-line sniper, first-line power play role, something like that. McNeil, 49. He could be trade bait because he is a little bit too good for the fourth line or the third line, but he is pretty cheap, so I don't know. Fritz had a good rookie season, 24 goals from the 21-year-old with a 5-star shot, 7th round pick, and he's already a star. It's pretty cheap too. Maybe he takes the role of Pyre on that second line, maybe? We'll see. Johansson had 19 goals, which is very impressive from the two-way defenseman. He's been a rock-solid, 40-point scorer for us. Very happy with him. Colborne down list here. Flood is up to an 87 overall, so proven he can be a good partner for Mr. DuPont. And then the rest of the team. Here in net, Andrianov, 903 save percentage, not very good. Honestly, good enough, though, to lead us to that spot, so I don't have a big problem with that. We need to get Chuparov out of here, though. He sucks. Plain out sucks. Has not grown from 68 overall. He's terrible. Doesn't matter until you get to the playoffs, though. And we will be playing, I think, the Panthers in the first round, if I remember correctly. No, they finished first. So we'll be playing the Sabres. Sabres are playoff chokes. We all know it, so let's get the series over with. Not a good start as we drop the first two at home. Not a good start at all. We drop game 3. 10-2 win in game 4. Okay. It's a whack playoff series so far. We'll go in for game 5. First period 2-1. Second period tied at 2. This could be the last period of our season. Schultz puts us up by 1. Rainer Schultz, he's been a good player for us. Not a good player, but a long-serving low elite guy. One of our first draft picks, I think. 10 minutes left. Can we hold on to this 1-0, 1-goal lead to survive another day? And Stallberg adds the extra one, and we will. So, great performance from Andrianov, and we won 2 straight. Game 6 at home, looking to tie this series up. Tied at 2 after 1. Second period, still tied at 2, leading the shots by a little bit. So hopefully we can keep the pressure on. 1-2 straight. Let's keep this momentum. 10 minutes left. Next goal will probably be the winner. Time winding down. Buffalo power play. Killed off. And time runs down. And we'll be going into overtime. And he scores McNeil on the third line. Just 13 seconds in. And after losing 3 straight, we've won 3 straight. And are forcing game 7 in Buffalo. This would be an absolute fairy tale ending to our first playoff series win, hopefully. Brassard and Flood score 2 defensemen, tied up at 2 heading into the third period again. That's like 3 games straight. But we've come out on top on 2 of them. Can we make it 3? And Schultz gives us the lead. Time winding down here. 5 minutes left. Can we hold on? And yes, we can. The reverse sweep of the Buffalo Sabres. 4 straight wins. We've proven to be amazing in the slow sim. That was 3 straight wins in the slow sim. And we are advancing to the second round for the first time in our team's history. First 2 games of round 2 against the Atlantic winning Panthers, and we split. Down 3-1 now as we drop both of them at home against the Panthers. They've only lost 2 games all playoffs. Can we get back into this fight? First period, nothing. Second period, 3-2. They score 3 straight, but we get 2. But Pinelli puts them up by 2. Still got time to fight back. But we need to score quickly here. Florida power play. Last few minutes here. Do we have a hero? Power play, and no, we do not have a hero. Unfortunate, but we drop game 5 of the second round and lose to the Florida Panthers. Unfortunate, but that was a good run for us, and as our depth continues to get better, hopefully we can survive those later rounds, because that's really what gets you through those conference finals, Stanley Cup finals, your grit, your fourth line. So that's definitely our weak point, but hopefully we can keep on going. The Calgary Flames ended up winning the Stanley Cup. Oilers won the President's Trophy. Matthews, Brock Cripps. I was thinking about drafting him a few years ago. Kind of sucks. Nabokov wins the Vezina. Yeah, no awards this year for any Nordiques players. We traded away our first round this year. In the second round, we pick up this medium top 6 forward, as well as this low elite defenseman. In the fourth round, we picked up a medium elite offensive defenseman, as well as a medium elite goalie, and another medium elite goalie, and then a low elite defenseman in the 7th round. Gonna try and sign Schultz to a steal of a contract here, 8 years at $8.85 million. Very good for a player who has medium franchise potential. I just got a wild glitch. I don't know why, but for some reason he wants to sign a 1-year deal worth $0.01 million. I don't know why. He said he would accept that for some reason. That was super weird. Yeah, look, like he's like 0.1. That's messed up. I don't know what's going on. But anyways, I'll go back to the deal that he was willing to accept before. Maybe like, let's up it to like 9.1 million. That's still a good deal for him. And he says that one. And he said yes to that one, so that's awesome. It just said he said yes to that. What the heck? Nah, I'm going to play that back because he said yes to the deal. He said, oh yeah, I'll accept this deal enthusiastically. That's weird, dude. He literally just said he would accept that deal. And now his offer has gone way up, so we'll go 9.3 now. That's so weird that he didn't accept that. That's weird. Okay, so he says yes. He obviously said yes. That's so weird, dude. He said yes to the offer multiple times. Dude, this game is... Okay, I love the changes that EA brought with NHL 25. Like, franchise mode is definitely better. But there's been some crazy glitches this year. It's been absolutely wild. So I guess we just qualify him and hope things change at in free agency. Maybe we can even get him for cheaper. That'd be great. But that is so weird. Sign the contract multiple times, but it doesn't go through. Like, is there something I'm missing here? Alright, so I'm editing the video right now, and I think I know why I was getting this glitch. It's because, well, it's for two reasons. So at the time, we had enough cap space, but I think I had some offers out already to other players, and they just assumed they would accept that. So I didn't actually have enough contract space at the time, so that's why it wasn't going through. But I thought of that at the time, but once all the contracts went through, and we had enough cap space for sure, I was still waiting. And it was still saying, yes, he accepts, but it didn't actually work. So I think what it actually was is, you remember how I had to sign players to like huge contracts to get to like the cap floor? Like it would sound like a 70 overall to an $18 million contract? Well, what I accidentally did is on one of those players, he was a pending RFA, and I accidentally qualified him, meaning the qualifying offer was $18 million. And I think he assumed, because even though I offered him a contract and he took like a two-way deal, it assumed that he had taken that qualifying offer of like 18 million. So that's why we didn't have enough cap space. That's why it wasn't going through. That's my hypothesis. I'm not actually sure, but just maybe a possible explanation for this weird glitch. Okay, we're gonna get him for way more now, which kind of sucks, but dude, that is so weird. That's a bad glitch. I'm not gonna lie. I don't like that glitch at all. He doesn't even want like playing the man. Shut up, dude. Okay, he says yes to that. I'm gonna try and take a little bit off that. Looks like Marsh here. He was the medium elite defenseman we've drafted, and he's already up to a 76 overall. So we're gonna sign him and put him on the team. And I'm gonna try and get Schultz to this deal. 8 years, $10 million. I need to move out some money, so I'm gonna go do that now. Move out these two players here. Schultz, he's a long-term player for us. We drafted him in 2026. He has good stats, but has never really been able to put it together. So, 25 years old, he's done growing. We're also going to send out Shubarov. He's been our goalie for a long time, but we have a better guy in the system who's going to join the team next year. So, 68 overall, he did pretty good in the NHL, but time to finally let go of these players. And we ended up getting a 6th round pick for them, which is okay because that opens up the contract space necessary. And Schultz said that the contract does not meet his needs. Very interesting. He said that, I think it was the clause that didn't meet his needs. So that's not good at all. I just noticed that Fritz here, he was the low elite we drafted. He's up to a medium elite potential, so he will definitely be taking Pyre's room on the top 6 there. 7th round pick, 21 years old, already an 83 with medium elite potential. That's a gem of a draft pick there. Now, I wouldn't usually do this in a normal franchise mode, but Colborne here, he's a low elite, 83 overall at 21 years old, and he's willing to sign 8 years at 2.2, so I'm just going to lock him up now. Okay, we're going to try and do an 8x10 with Schultz here. I think I've offered this contract before, but that should be perfect. Colborne says yes. And he wants this stupid contract clause, dude. That's so annoying. Maybe we can go like 10.5 to try and get him. on a better deal. He seems dead set on a 7-year deal, so I'm going to try this 7 years and 9.7 million. And he does say yes to that. Thankfully, that was a long drawn out process. Alright, so here's how the lines are looking now, and I've got to say, I'm a big fan of this team. We've got Clark and Preston. We've got an elite top line here. We've got Goulias. I think I'll probably start Goulias on the second line just because maybe Preston can come down, actually. You know what? Now that I think about it, Preston's going to play there for now. But anyways, we got Fritz coming in the top 6 now as that medium elite. Hopefully he can grow into a star. We got Pyre. This is his first year in a long time. He hasn't been on the first line. 4th overall pick. We love him. He's going to be settling into that more secondary role. Colborne here. He's grown really nice. So he's going to be a good third liner for us with McNeil and Pyre. And then the 4th line, we've got this 74 overall. But outside of that, this team is looking rock solid, man. I'm very excited for the future of this team. The defense looks not bad, actually, because Flood has grown. We got DuPont, as always. Marr has medium elite potential. I don't think he's going to grow too much because he is 25, but we'll put him there for now. And then Marsh, who we just signed. I guess we could have him on the second pair, but it doesn't really matter. And then Brassaw, he was a low top 4. He's actually been really solid for us. So is our defense elite? No, we have a 78 playing in top 4, but we don't have any like 60 overalls anymore. Andrianov will finally be getting a slightly better backup in this undrafted guy. I signed him as like the lowest overall, like a 46, and he's actually grown into a decent player. So even though we didn't draft him, I think it's okay to keep him on the team. And yeah, let's see how this team does. We take a bit of a step back this year, I'm not gonna lie. We still make the playoffs, but 41, 33, and 8, not our best record. It was really weird. Like, we went on some wicked losing streaks. I ended up changing the lines a little bit, and it seemed to work out. Still 12th in the NHL. 3.54 goals per game is very good. 3.16 against. That's our big problem. Like, that's one of the highest in the NHL. So, a power play of best in the league. 27.9. Very nice. 82% penalty kills. Not very good, though. Maddox Schultz takes the lead in scoring this year, which makes you wonder. Yeah, Quentin Clark, 73 points. Come on, man. DuPont takes a big step, though. 77 points from our top pair D. That's what we love to see. Goulias. Everyone's scoring was kind of just down. Fritz, I moved him down to the third line, and he seemed to benefit from that a lot, actually. He only had like 4 goals at the halfway, or not 4 goals. He didn't have very many goals at the halfway point. I moved him down and it worked out. Colbert might have to take a higher role in the lineup. He's been very solid ever since he got here. Pyre, he was on the third line and he struggled, so 39 points for him, not very good. Flood, he's up to an 88. Got an extra X factor there, which is nice. Johansson's up to a 92, by the way. Very solid for him. And then Marr, I moved Marr down to the bottom pair D and replaced him with Marsh, who's up to an 83 overall now. So his growth is going really well. He's a solid top 4 defenseman already, and we have a few more years of entry-level contract for him, so that's nice. 904 for Andrianov. He's down to a medium starter potential, so he could be a trade candidate, but we really don't have anyone to replace him yet. So we'll have to wait a few years for that. But we do sneak into the playoffs, and that's all that matters. No matter if it was a down year, we will be playing the Sabres in the first round again. So this will be another tough matchup. They're a pretty good team. Game 1 and Game 2 go to overtime. Both of them. We split the series in Buffalo and head home. Split the series again. 7-4 win, but 3-0 loss. 4-2 loss in Game 5, and can we force a Game 7 here? We did it last year. Can we do it again? First period 0. Second period shish kebab on the 4th line. Clark gets another one, and hopefully that should be enough. 3-2. It was a close one, actually. Johansson and Bickle got it back, but we forced Game 7 against Buffalo. We've been in this position before. We won it in overtime. What will happen this year? First period and tied at 1. Mar gets the goal for us. Second period, Shishkabov scores another one. It's tied at 3. Shots are 40 to 12. 3 goals on 12 shots is terrible, but we're outplaying them. But 4 goals on 17 shots. Come on, Andrianov. Hold us in there. Can we score another one on, who is it, Levi? He is absolutely standing on his head right now. Come on, Preston ties it up. 48 shots. Kleber, no. 5 goals on 24 shots. Is that it? No way we just lost that game. Outshooting them more than double. 53 to 26. But we lose in Game 7. That is a terrible result. It's year 9 of this franchise, so we only have 1 more year to win the Stanley Cup. I only did it for 10 years, so we need to do it next year to reach our goal. I mean, we built a solid team, but I just don't think we really did a good enough job to get those like bottom 6 players, and especially the goalie. Like, we put all of our stock in Andrianov, and he did not grow from the age of like 20, which was kind of our downfall, but we still have 1 more year to get it done. Looking at the awards here, the Blue Jackets got their cup, Flames President's Trophy, Matthews, Jack Hughes, and Adam Fox on the Penguins now. Interesting. Natchez, Wolf. No awards this year. We really didn't have too much of an awards team other than, what do we have? 1 Calder, 2 Bill Mastertons, and a Vezina. So really nothing too crazy. Since it is our last year, I think I'm going to go all out and get an NHL-ready player at the draft. First, second, and third over to the Capitals for the 10th overall pick. I'll add in this guy. He's 21. He probably won't make the NHL in the next few years, so that's a big price to pay, but hopefully it will be worth it. We're going to pick up a defenseman, and that guy is this guy here. 12th overall. He actually ends up being medium elite, so he would have been a good player long term as well. 78 overall. He's going to jump right into the lineup. We can think of this as like our trade deadline, like sending out futures for, yes, good players. They're also futures, but we're mostly just sending out our futures for good players who can join the team next year. Now, there isn't a ton of them. We also sent out almost all of the rest of our draft picks over to the Canadians to get this guy here. It says he might be NHL ready. He's 3 bars NHL ready. He's a 74 overall, so that might be good enough to make our lineup. I'll probably sign him either way just because it's the last year. I'm just going to send the rest of the draft. There's no one else. And this is the year we have to get it done. Going all in this year. All right, here it is, our final year of this Drafted Glory Challenge. This entire team is drafted by us. I'll just show you here every single player. Looking amazing. And our 4th line is way better now. Pyre, for some reason, got down to an 82 overall. He was a star a few years ago, 70 points. But we still keep him on as our first ever player, 4th overall back then. But yeah, so our bottom 6 is looking way better now. We got an 87, 85, and 84 4th line, or 3rd line, which is great. We do have a 75 in the mix, but we're still looking pretty solid on the forward. The defense is looking better now as well. Flood, DuPont, Marsh, and Johansson is all, he's a medium franchise, by the way. A very good top 4. I think that's pretty good, especially in this like timeline. Like, in these later years, team defense is so terrible that's very solid. This guy Brassard's been pretty good for us, and Chung, the guy we just drafted, will make his debut. And yeah, all of these players are drafted by us as well, as you can see. And then goalie's probably our biggest problem. We need Andrianov to be excellent this year, but he is also drafted by us. Another thing, this guy here, undrafted, we picked him up as the lowest overall goalie. That's what I just needed when I needed contract spots. I just took the lowest overall, no matter their potential. So we lucked out. He was like a 46, and he turned into a good player for us. And he's better than nothing. So he's the only player that we didn't draft. Honestly, let's do it. This is our last year. We've never gotten past the 2nd round of the playoffs, but I think this is definitely our best lineup we put on the ice so far. So let's just get right into it. And what a season we had, finishing with 60 wins, 16-6. Oh my goodness, absolutely dominating the league, running away with the President's Trophy. We finished at 3.65 goals per game, second in the NHL, 2.71 against, which is among the best in the NHL. So that was definitely our biggest weakness, and we went out and we got a few extra players for that. Turned out great. So our power play was also very solid, and our penalty kill of 85% was up there. We didn't lead the league in any category really, but we were just overall the best team, and Matty Schultz led the team in scoring. He's been really good for us. What was he, the first overall pick? Yeah, he was the first overall pick back then. He's really grown into one of our best players. Clark, consistent as always. He hasn't scored 50 goals like he did that one season, but it's whatever. Preston, Stallberg, entire offense just came together this season. DuPont took a bit of a step back, but he's still good. Fritz, Hire, our longest serving player, he's still out there. Flood, everyone just doing their job out here. Very good all around. And in net, 917 from Andrianov. That's what we want to see. That's the goalie we thought we had. There we go. What a season from him. Big improvement. 27 years old, having the best season of his career. Amazing stuff there. So all around an excellent season, and we pick up our second President's Trophy in the team's history. Now let's see if we can take it all the way to the Stanley Cup. So our first round matchup will be against the Capitals, who we just beat. By the way, we are going into this game on a 13-game point streak, leading back to this game against the Islanders here. And then before that, we were on, we've just been on an absolute run. This team's a wagon. But anyways, first two games of the series, we split the series, 5-2 win, but then a 5-3 loss. We split the next two games as well, overtime win and then a 3-1 loss. Come on, we can dominate these guys. 4-3 overtime win. Let's get it done in Game 6. And we cannot. Oh my goodness. Game 7 against a terrible Capitals team. Come on, let's close this series out. First period, 3-2. 2 goals against is not ideal, boys. We take a 4-2, and that will be it. So, a little bit tighter than I thought. A little bit tighter than it should have been, but we do take a 7-game win in round 1 against the Capitals. Now, in round 2, we will be playing the Tampa Bay Lightning, another good Atlantic team. We lose game 1 in overtime there, but then take game 2 in overtime. Lose 3-1, but then win 6-0 in game 4. So this series is tied at 2. Game 5, we're down. Oh my gosh. No way, right? Okay. Away in Tampa Bay, we need to win this game. First period, 1-1 McNeil. Second period, Brust. Come on, boys. Let's take the lead here and absolutely run away with it. No. Tampa, power play goal. No, not the time to give up another power play. Come on. We need a goal here and fast if we want to keep this season alive. This is the last game we'll play if they don't hurry up right now. Do we have a hero late in the game? And the 60-win Quebec Nordiques are eliminated by the Tampa Bay Lightning. Dang, that sucks, man. That is so bad. Dude, I thought we had a team going. Oh well. We still put a solid team on the ice. Good enough to win 2 President's Trophies. Made us to the second round twice. I guess that's not terrible considering we started with all 60 overalls. Season's over now. The Avalanche ended up sweeping the Lightning in the finals. Nordiques President's Trophy. What could have been? Ross. A sweep by the Avalanche. Jeez. And nothing. So, alright, let's go through some of the players we had in the organization. We'll start off with the oldest and our oldest player, our first ever draft pick, our first ever player in the organization. It was Vince Pyre, 4th overall pick, sniper. He was a solid player for us. Never really developed into that star we thought he was going to be after that 70-point season, but he ended up playing 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8 years with us. Yeah. left him in college for a few years. 8 years with us, high of 70 points and 35 goals. Solid player all around and a leader on the team, even though he was playing a reduced role near the end. In the next draft, we picked up two very important players. First of that is Stallberg, who played 9 years with us, put up 540 points as well. He never had a point per game season, but did have a few 30-goal seasons. All around a very solid player for us. And later in that same draft, we picked up Calle Johansson, who had a bright future. He has franchise potential, so he was probably going to go up in overall sooner rather than later as well. So he was a very good player for us to lock down defensively. And even though he played on some terrible teams in the first few years, he was a trooper through it all. Played 9 years with the organization as well, a very consistent 30 to 40 point guy. Next was in 2026, 17th overall, we picked up Larry McNeil, who was a very good third liner for us throughout his career. Put up some solid 40, 50 to 60 point seasons. Nothing special. He had that medium elite potential, but he was more of a third line guy. He was very good for us and very consistent. Shish Kebab, we picked up in the next draft. He scored a few important playoff goals for us, I guess. Solid fourth liner. Our best player probably is Quentin Clark, who we picked up, as well as Landon DuPont, first and second overall. Two franchise players. Clark was a point per game player 4 times, had 52 goals in a season, never won any individual awards, but was an extremely solid player for us in the face of our franchise. Landon DuPont was our number 1 defenseman through it all. Had 77 points one year, which was pretty cool. Past that, very solid number 1 defenseman who always had a good plus-minus. He also played on some really bad teams, so shout out to Landon DuPont for sure. Matthew Preston, 3rd overall pick in 2026. I don't know why he didn't show up on the age list first, but he was an amazing player for us. A very consistent, 70-point guy for those last few years. Hugo Broussard was actually a decent player for us. He was a 3rd-round pick in 2028. Pretty low expectations for him, but he actually ended up playing 492 NHL games on that bottom pair. Maddox Schultz, our 1st overall pick in 2028, and he was our leader in scoring the last few years with 85 and 90, and he had a very bright future in the league as well. Shout out to Colborne, man. I wish I got some more time with this team, because he was an 89 overall with full X factors already, man. Pretty crazy at 23 years old. I never expected him to turn into that player, and that was with terrible ice time too. You look at his ice time, he never got more than 13 minutes. So getting into an 89 overall with that stat is pretty amazing. He was a really underrated player and a big part of our big President's Trophy win. Andre Flood was just coming into his own as a top pair defenseman, put up a career 35 points and was basically a top pair guy since he got here. 10th overall pick in 2028. Fritz also had a bright future. He was a 7th round pick who turned into a solid middle sixer for us, put up a career high 55 points last year and was a solid 25 goal scorer. Bruss, didn't get to talk about him too much. He was a 6th round pick in 2030 who ended up playing 2 years with us, and at only 22 he also had a bright future. Ernest Goulias, he's only 22, 2nd overall pick, and he has been a top sixer basically since he came here, playing 5 years for us. Past that, there's no one too important. Marsh and Chung were both very good young defensemen who were hopefully going to be very good players in the NHL. A few other bottom sixers here, and then our other guy was Andrianov, who finally grew to an 87 overall with 1 X factor, ended up winning 1 Vezina trophy in his career with us, ended up with a 908 over his, how many years with us? Pretty much all of his years. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. 7 years with us. And some of those years, like this year, we were terrible, dude. He played on 2 terrible teams, held down the fort, and was a solid starter for the rest of his career. So shout out to Andrianov, definitely a legend. So that's the franchise done with. Ended up winning 2 President's Trophies. Could not get it done in any of the playoffs. But in 10 years, we turned from a team of complete garbage AHL players built only through the draft and made a pretty good team. So I'm pretty proud of that. I do recommend you try out this challenge if you haven't already. It's really fun. Definitely not very fun for the first few years, but once you see all of your draft picks turned into solid players, it's very satisfying, I guess. Leave a like on the video if you enjoyed. Subscribe if you want to see more of these type of videos, and let me know in the comments what you would like to see next. I'm liking doing these NHL videos. Like I did the Rangers video a few weeks ago. That was pretty fun. And then this video is kind of similar to that as well. So I think I'm gonna continue on with videos like this. I'm enjoying making them, but let me know if you have any other suggestions. Thanks for watching, everyone, and I'll see you all in the next one.